So in 6.2, we're going to be multiplying, and this should say dividing. Multiplying and dividing radicals. All right, so when we're multiplying and dividing radicals, it's super important that we either have the same exponent or the same index. So here, our exponents, that little number up top, we would combine the bases, so it would be 2 times 3 squared. So let's say I had something like 2 to the third power times 3 to the third power. I combine the bases, so what would this be? 2 times 3, and what's our exponent? 3. So the exponent stays the same too. So what's 2 times 3? 6. So this would be 6 to the third power, which is 6 times 6 times 6, which is 216. So that's what we would do. Same thing, you would have to have the same index in order to combine them. So this becomes 2 times 3. So looking at example A, do we have the same index? No. So can I combine these? Nope. So we would say can't simplify. If your exponents are not the same or your indexes are not the same, you cannot simplify them. You can say can't simplify, can't divide. Or can't multiply. Here we can't multiply. All right, for B, can I multiply these together? Yes. So my index stays the same. So it stays a 3 out front. And then inside, I would have negative 4 times 2. Now I can multiply these together, but eventually I'm just going to have to break them apart anyways. So what are 2 factors of 4? 2 and 2. And 2 breaks down to 2. I'm circling groups of what here?
3.
Groups of 3. So what would I circle? The 3 2's. So what comes to the outside? 2. Do I have anything left on the inside? No. And then for this one, since it was negative on the inside, we make it negative on the outside. So because our exponent here is odd, the negative stays with it. So our answer is negative. But remember when we had like a square root? So let's say I had the square root of negative 2. What would I do before with the negative on the inside? Make it an I. So I would take it out and make it an I. But that's when your degree is even. So when it's even, it becomes an I. If it's odd, your answer is negative. All right, so same thing with dividing. We need our indexes to be the same. So when our indexes are the same, we just divide the 2 numbers together, all under 1 radical. So we go from having 2 radicals to just 1, and then the 2 numbers on the inside. So here, it's the square root of 2 over the square root of 3. So we combine it all under 1 radical, and it's just 2 divided by 3. So let's say I had the 4th root of 2. Actually, let's make it the 4th root of 10 over the 4th root of 5. This would become the 4th root of what goes on the inside? 10 over 5. Oops. And what's 10 divided by 5? So it would be the 4th root of 2. All right, so let's look at the next one. So here we're multiplying. Do I have the same index? Yep, so they all can go under 1. So it's going to be 72 times 10, because I'm going to keep my numbers together. And then write the x's together. So how many x's do I have here? 4, because I have 3 here and 1 here. So there would be 4 x's. So I'll just say x to the 4th power for now. And then how many y's do I have? 5. So y to the 5th power. Now I could multiply 72 times 10 and then break it down from there. But since I'm going to break it down, I just might as well break it down from here. So what are 2 factors of 72?
8.
8 and 9. What are 2 factors of 8? 4 and 2. And 2 factors of 9? 3 and 3. And 2 factors of 4? 2 and 2 and 2. 3, 3. So I circle groups of how many here? Groups of 2. Remember, when your index is not written. All right, so we can't forget about the 10. What are 2 factors of 10? 5 and 2. And that's it, 5 and 2. So I'll write those down low. Yes. So I circle my groups. I have 2 2s here, 2 3s, and what else do I circle? The other 2 2s here. So what comes to the outside? 2 times 2 times 3. And then what stays on the inside? 5. And then we do the same thing with our variables, which is the same from before. So I circle 2 groups of x's. So how many x's come to the outside? 2. And then same thing with the y's. I have 5 y's. So circle 2 and 2. So how many y's come to the outside? 2. And how many stay on the inside? 1. So what's 2 times 2 times 3? 12. So this would be 12x squared y squared square root 5y. Good call, CDOS. All right, so next we're going to be dividing. So are my radicals the same here? My indexes, are they the same? Yeah. Neither one have a number, so it's implied that it's the square root for both. So I can combine them under 1. So on top I have 18x to the 5th power, and then on the bottom I have 2x cubed. So we can simplify our like terms. So what's 18 divided by 2? 9. And then with the x's, a couple different ways we can do this. If I have 5 x's on the top and 3 x's on the bottom, if you have any in common, they cancel. So then how many x's am I left with? 2. Or you can subtract. So this would be like x to the power of 5 minus 3. So when you're dividing, you can subtract. So this would be x squared. So that's a couple different ways we can do it. So if I have 5 x's and I take 3 away, I'm left with 2. So you just subtract. Now let's see if we can simplify this from here. So what are 2 factors of 9? 3 and 3. And 2 factors of x? X and x. So I'm circling what here? Pairs of 2. So what would I circle? 3's and the x's. So what comes to the outside? 3x. Is anything left on the inside? No. All right, let's look at B. Are my indexes the same here? So I can combine them under 1. Perfect. So I have the cubed root of 162y to the 5th power over 3y squared. So start with the numbers. What's 62 divided by 3? 54. And then if I have 5 y's on top and 2 on the bottom, what's 5 minus 2? 3. So it'd be y to the 3rd power. So then let's see if I can break it down from here. What are 2 factors of 54? 6 and 9. And 2 factors of 6? 2 and 3. And 2 factors of 9? And then how many y's do I have? 3. And I'm circling groups of how many? So what would I circle? Circle the 3 3's and the 3 y's. So what comes to the outside? And what stays on the inside? 2. And then since my index was the cubed, I keep the same index. So I just write that on the inside also. Or on the outside, but on your radical. The 3 goes on the outside of the radical. All right, let's look at the next. So here it's already under 1 radical. So let's see if I can simplify. Can I simplify 5 over 12? No. Do I have x's that I can simplify? No. Do I have y's or z's? So what do you think here? Can't simplify. All right, for the last one. Can I combine these together? Yeah, because they have the same index. So on top, I have 20ab. And then on the bottom, I have 45a squared b cubed. So let's start with the numbers. Can I simplify 20 over 45?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah, you can't. You can't do it. Don't do it over 5. No, you can't do it.
Do they have a common factor? What's the common factor? 5. So if I divide them both by 5, what's 20 divided by 5? 4. And what's 45 divided by 5? 9. And then looking at the A's. I have 1 A on top and 2 on the bottom. What's 1 minus 2? -1. So where do you think that A is going to go? At the bottom, because your negative exponents go on the bottom. Another way you can think about it is I have A over A times A. Amanda. So I have 1 A on top and 2 on the bottom, so the A's cancel, so I'm just left with an A on the bottom. And then looking at the B's. I have 1 B on top and 3 on the bottom. So those will cancel. How many B's am I left with? 2, and where? On the bottom. Look, they're on the bottom. Because if I did 1 minus 3, it'd be -2. Okay, so then from here, what do you think I can do? I can factor. If you can't see that we can factor from here, split it up again. I have the square root of 4 on top and the square root of 9ab squared on the bottom. What's the square root of 4? 2. And then let's break down the bottom. What are 2 factors of 9? 3 and 3. Then I have an A and 2 B's. I'm circling how many of a kind here? 2. So what do I circle? The 3's and the B's. So what comes to the outside? 3. B. What stays on the inside? A. So this would be our answer. So let's look at number 3. So can I combine these together? Yeah, so it would be 9 times -24. What are factors of 9? 3 and 3, and factors of 24?
How did you get to number 3?
We started with number 3.
I'm at number 9.
3 and 8. And what are 2 factors of 8? And then 2 factors of 4? 2 and 2. So I'm circling how many of a kind here? 3 of a kind. So what I circle? The 3's and the 2's. So what comes to the outside? 3 times 2, which is 6, but it was negative to start with. So what do you think my answer is? -6. All right, so let's look at 16. Can I combine these together?
Yes.
Yes. So 48x cubed y squared over 6x to the 4th power y. All right, so with our numbers, can I divide 48 by 6? So what's 48 divided by 6? 8. All right, so then with the x's, if I have 3 x's on top and 4 on the bottom, so it'd be 1 on the bottom, because 3 minus 4 is -1, so -x goes on the bottom. And then with the y's, if 2, what's 2 minus 1? +1. So y goes on top. Can I simplify this? How? The 8, what are factors of 8? 2 and 4, and then factors of 4? 2 and 2. So I'm circling groups of what? Groups of 3. So do I have a group of 3? So what comes to the outside? A 2. Can I simplify the y's or the x's? No. So it'd just be the cubed root of y over x. So usually if you still have a fraction, we could break this up into their own radicals here. We can simplify the top one, so this would become 2 cubed root y over cubed root x. So either answer would work. If you wrote it like this or like this, they are both right. These are the same. You could write it either way.